So, I mean, you talk about pot of gold, and you say your lowest moments becoming growing pains.
Yeah.
Problem solving is when I feel I'm at my truest. Funny,
Yes,
my
sir.
name is Mlungis.
Yeah.
You this kind of takes me back to the whole concept of the puzzle. It's like, when you say problem solving is when you feel like you're at your truest,
Yeah.
because the person that schooled you is like your lineage, and it doesn't get realer than that. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I don't know if you were even thinking about it like that when you were saying it.
I wasn't. Totally not. But it happens that, you know what I mean? You might say something that you weren't intending, and it ties into something else, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
always
yeah,
a beautiful
yeah,
thing
yeah.
about art. But yeah, that's quite a crazy insight.
You also mentioned Easy, KO, Nota,
Yeah.
on this particular track, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to just so you, if literally you had to say, I got this from here, I got
Yeah.
this from here, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just the
From-
Jews, just let
from each
everybody.
person.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because I'm sure you learn different things,
From
and it's
different-
like,
that's
or
true.
at least you got different things.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy you mentioning them, but I guess even for them to know, just those Jews, that okay, this is what
He picked up from me.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think from KO, what I got is mastering your craft and being present and being involved in your craft at every step of the way. So there's no taking the foot off the gas about anything, because the level of detail that needs to go into everything is very important. You know what I mean? Yeah, he does that brilliantly.
Yeah.
And he's also able to see things for other people. You know what I mean? Like, that takes a skill to be able to see what would work for you is going down this path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have that.
Yeah.
But it's a trait that I identified, and I thought, that would be dope. Simply because some people don't have a dream for themselves. Like, sadly enough, you know what I mean? Dreaming doesn't cost a thing, but some people are so downbeat that they don't have aspirations for themselves. So if you're able to at least point them in the right direction, I think that's...
Or dream for other people in a way.
You know what I mean? From Easy, charisma, character, color, just energy, you know what I mean? And just an easygoing nature about him. It's if you listen to how Easy approaches music, fun, I just did a song with Easy probably like a month back. A feature for like a DJ. So my process is a bit different. I'll sit and I'll have to craft the lines. Easy, while we're talking Anje, he's already throwing lines. He's picking up lines from me, you know what I mean? He's pulling them out the sky. And before you know it, you know what I mean? So that easygoing nature, just about making everything such a fun process.
Yeah.
I don't have that. But that's a character that, you know what I mean? I identified, and I'm like, I need to start working on this thing. And I think it's a brilliant skill also to have just socially. I think that opens you up to like so many things, you know what I mean? Like the other week, I was actually sitting thinking, as people, Fana, you could go through a day, nah? And you could be surrounded by people who could change your life at every turn. Ungangena eGautrain manje, and uthola ukuthi uhleli next to someone who could change your entire life. What's the barrier up? It's the script. You don't know how to unlock this person. You know what I mean? To tap into his energy of like, okay, mfana ngizokusiza udingani. Whatever you need, let's make it happen. You know what I mean? And sometimes we pray for like, God bless me, surround me with doing his thing I saw. But the reality is, we're always surrounded by those things. We just are unable to like tap into. Speak to that stranger and say, yo, fana, so.
We're not easy.
We're so closed off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Umar is someone who has that. He's able to just disarm people when he steps into a space. It's like, nonke, you're just willing to surrender whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing. That character for me, I think is a character of like people who really are very influential and can get what they want out of people. Not in a manipulative way. Untugza, what I learned from Tugza is his love for the art form. He is a very resilient person, you know what I mean? Resilient, and he's one guy who is also very, like, nyazithemba mina mfana. I don't care what it looks like outside. I'm the guy. You know what I mean? He could be in a room full of, you name it, mfana, but he feels like, yo,
I'm the one.
I'm the guy. I don't care who else is in the room. You know what I mean? That character for me is important simply because we touched on it earlier off camera that distraction is like a real thing, that affects us in a real way. You get to a situation and both tembile, both chelile, yo, him. But figure lapo, there's more noise happening in that corner. Suddenly, I'm so tategile now. So, you know what I mean? So that's what I learned from Tugza. What I learned from Zinga is, me and Zinga, actually, in terms of just skill set, we spent so much time cooking together that a lot of our traits are very similar. It's like, ngithela juice ngapha, wathela yakhe, and then we split the juice in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? But as a character, I think he's someone who really believes in himself, like, despite the odds, you know what I mean? That for me is like crazy to watch and to just look at. Someone who really believes in himself to a level of like crazy proportions where you sometimes have to question, you know what I mean? And I think that is something that I'm picking up on, that I'm trying to also just throw into my pot, you know what I mean? He's someone who has a fighting spirit. He's a fighter, you know what I mean?
Who always releases his albums in December at the worst time. I'm always like, but why are you fighting this December war, bro? Like, stop it.
He wants to fight.
You know,
he was born in December. I think
his birthday is around December. So he always wants to release in December. I'm like, no, but there's too much noise. Your album, no one's gonna remember this shit. And that's me and his conversation all the time. December. Oh geez, I know.
Yeah, but it comes from that belief, because Uzinga is also just the person who's a party. He's a party, a walking party. You know what I mean? So you can imagine just from his thought process, he feels like, Fana, these rules about December is already hot or whatever. If December is only going to be hot, mang figure. You know what I mean? So that's the thinking, I'd imagine. But man, just also his present. I think he's someone who's able to be very present in the moment. I think for Yena, time moves at a very slow pace. You know what I mean? And simply because he's someone I've spent a lot of time with, and I've been able to like observe certain things about it. So those are the things I've picked up. Cash is my guy. Cash spirit, you'll never knock his spirit. There's no one who has more let's go out and get it than Cash. You know what I mean? He's fired up. Just 90 minutes. Angidlaleli 90 minutes manje. Akudlalele ne-extra time. Fana yokushayela wonke ama-penalty. You know what I mean? That level of fight and that level of drive for me is like How we told from just anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's an amazing trait. Vilakazi, Senzo has a lot of traits that I've picked up, right? He's able to forget himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just be like a part of the equation.
Yeah.
And for me, I think there's a gift and a curse about that, but I want to focus on just the beauty in that. I think that allows you to, it's almost like he's able to rid himself of his ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's an important thing, dog. Like, ego is something that, like, it stands in the way of you being present.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're not present, you invite a lot of things to then become a problem to your situation. So that, for me, I think is like an amazing thing. He's able to put his ego aside. He's also a very selfless person. You know what I mean? Like, he can think for other people, and he can show up for you when you need him. You know what I mean? So those are traits that, for me, I observed, and I was like, yo, those are things that are very crucial in just your journey in life. You need to have those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nota is a very detailed person. He's someone who moves with a lot of intent. You know what I mean? He's like, when we made Thank the King, I was working very closely with it in the process. And for me, I got to understand, like, exactly how this man functions. You know what I mean? Like, just the level of attention that he pays to, like, even the smallest thing that he wants to put into the work and so forth. And I mean, prior to that, I was someone who would just do things by chance, and that thing would come off. You know what I mean? But he's someone who notices, who remembers every time we got an answer right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't move with that level of awareness of, like, yo, so I tried it 3 years back, and this is the formula that worked, and this thing is still relevant. You know what I mean? I need to keep it so that when you approach with the same situation somewhere down the line, you don't have to start from scratch. You can tap into what you know. You know what I mean? So he's just someone of brilliant insight. I also think he's a scientist. He's got a scientist's mind. And, and like, I resonate with that because Nami, I'm very experimental in just, like, how I like to do things. And I mean, like, he's done amazing things, and he's taught me a lot as well, just in terms of how to be very scientific about some of the songs that I'm creating for Desired Effect and so forth.
He's not scared to break the rules using the rules.
At all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not scared to break the rules using the rules.
And
like you said, you could be chancing, but he could actually know the rules, you know, and he's already thought of the rules.
You know what I mean?
So I always feel like he's a good balance of the chancer, the person who's brave, and the person who's basically like going, but this is the general data of everything. So with your chance, this is what you can do. So, you know what I mean? He's the difference between a bullet that comes from a gun or like, or a bullet that's just dropped on the floor.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? You know, I mean, I've worked with him, so I know him. You know what I mean? On
cool.
that level, you know?
Yeah.